What were you trying to hum?
I don't know. It's just whatever's coming to my head.
Okay, well, this is that moment. Play the music. Oh, did you program it into the sound disk?
I did. Yay. Can I get an E, man? I did see, like, I hit it so hard that the whole, like, iPad moved and stuff, so hopefully it holds.
I can still see you okay.
How's it going, dude?
So do we have... I'm good on you, man. So do we have, like, different sound effects programmed?
Not as many as I'd like, but there are, like, a couple of, like, the typical ones. And one I've put in that I just... It's got to be the moment to use it. Maybe it'll organically come up. I don't know.
Okay. And you know which buttons are which, I'm hoping, now. So that you... So it could be quite interesting. We could have a moment that the wrong sound effect comes through.
Pretty much. I've only learned what the intro is exactly. The rest are kind of a blur.
Program it to button 1, so you know.
And it's red. So it's like...
Oh, that's so funny. I love that. So how are you doing, dude? What are we on now? We've been behind bars for...
I think it's like 8 weeks or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. We went into lockdown officially, as far as I know, on the 15th of March, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it was a week later. We were social distancing that week of the 15th. And then the following week, we went in, I think it was around the 20-something. I don't know which date exactly. So, yeah, so it's 7-8 weeks in by your or my count, varying, etc., which is...
Yeah. But dude, to get back to your point, how am I doing? Like, it's weird, man. Like, I was vaguely chatting to you this morning, and I don't want to get too, like, lethargic and deep. But I thought I was doing fine for the longest time. And I just, like, watched people on social media, like, moan and complain. And I was just like, get over it, man. Like, you know, like, just keep moving on with your life.
Yeah.
But, like, I think, like, I didn't want to admit that it was affecting me, because it's almost, you sound like a little brat for complaining. So it started I think it has started messing with me a bit. Just the whole no sense of what day it is and no sense of what time it is. And you know, I've been working a lot, so it's kind of like just work until you get it done. And there's no, like, separation of time and staying active and you know, I always, like, try and think of myself as this introverted guy, but, like, social interactions, you know, like us hanging out and me just seeing other people at work and at the office and stuff, like, I think it's a bigger deal than what I try and give it credit for. So yeah, dude, it's I find my days are quite erratic. Well, like, have some days where I'm like, okay, this is it, go, you know, like, but then there's days I'm like super down and I can't really work out why. And I think that's it, dude. I think that this is starting to sort of take its toll. But then I sit back and I kind of look at recently, you know, as all South Africans know, we got put into our stage 4. They've given us stage names now. And people ran outside like mad. And, you know, there's so many memes going around where, like, all of a sudden these South Africans are like athletes and, you know, like everyone wants to get outside and run outside. And I didn't feel the need to have to run outside. So I think there's a lot of people that are having it, like, a lot worse than I am. You know, that have such a need to, like, wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning and be like, I've got to go run, even though I've never run in my life, you know?
Yeah, I think that's valid. Or if not run, maybe take a walk around the neighborhood. Be it by yourselves with your spouse. Take the dogs for a walk around the neighborhood or something. I've certainly seen a lot of that since they downgraded the severity of our lockdown. On that note, though, I think I chatted to you yesterday or the day before. I went to this local shops just to, again, pick up. Had some friends in the. I don't want to say too much in case I get in trouble. But let's just basically say, decided to do a braai barbecue for the international.
Which may or may not have had other people there. No one will know.
May or may not. It's like the Deadpool, like, test footage. No one really knows who leaked it.
Okay, wrong sound. I actually had another sound in mind, but anyway.
You're just gonna have it. I knew it.
Okay, so you went to go get essential supplies from your shop, all protected and perfect. That's where we picked up off your story.
Yes, and it was amazing. Like the traffic flowing up and down the main road I have to cross just to get to that shop was, I dare say, like one small notch off the norm in terms of the usual quantity, amount of cars going in both directions. The parking lot of the shop was completely full. Like normally, previously, I could go and I could park pretty much almost outside the doors, or at least in that vicinity. This time I had to park right the way at the back. And I mean, you know that Pick and Pay by me, how big that premises is. Just full of cars. And they had downgraded just a week prior. They were regulating the amount of people going in and out of the store. Now it was just open, free for all. Granted, everyone had their masks on, so to everyone's credit, however they found their masks or sourced masks, be it through friends or going to various chemists, or I've seen online over the last week various people advertising that they are making masks and know people who are manufacturing masks, can have masks delivered, whatever the case is. So to everyone's credit, kudos, they were masked up, they were doing all the precautionary things that they needed to. But what shocked me and what freaked me out was just kind of like what you're saying. It's almost like, okay, we're on, if it was in prison terms, we've got our mandatory or our regulated time in the yard now, and people just like lost their minds, no holds barred, just let's go, man. And yeah.
What I found really interesting, sorry I'm interrupting you, dude.
No.
Like there's obviously there's various articles going around, and one of the first things that came up is like people lining up in like queues to get clothes. I'm like, at a time like this, where are you getting all the spare money for clothes? Like that's like should be the last thing in your mind when your job's in jeopardy, like the whole economy is crashing. It's like, man, I need me a new t-shirt. Like I just like, so here's a good example for you. Like it equates to what you were saying. So I won't mention the shopping center, but just in case, the one really close to me that we've met at the Panarottis there. Yeah. So there's a Checkers on one side and a Pick and Pay on the other side. And Kira and I have been there a few times for groceries when we want to buy like, especially like not bulk, but a bunch of stuff for the month. And Kira went there recently without me because I was working. And she said the queue from the Checkers went all the way to the Pick and Pay. Let that sink in, dude. That's like a K long or something.
That's insane. Whoa.
But having said that, dude, like another interesting topic, same topic, but is my Zoom family meeting changed last night, and I got to chat to a bunch of my family, and we tried like a really big one. And to my surprise, it wasn't a shouting match. It was pretty good because there was like 10 people on the screen or whatever. But it was a lot of people from overseas, and what was really interesting to me is to see how similar but different the lockdowns affected people. I spoke to people, cousins all the way from the States. I had other cousins from the UK. And also other family in Joburg. My parents all the way in the Northwest Province. And what's I found really interesting, man, is like, like my one cousin's in construction and in America, and they were completely put to a halt. But now they're starting to introduce it, and they've actually gone as far. This is typical first world country. They're hiring experts to let them know and draw up this whole project plan of what they can do at what stages, slowly but surely. And obviously they've got to pay these guys like a boatload of money.
As you do with consultants.
Yeah, and my one cousin, she's pregnant, and she also has a toddler. And I mean, as far as I know, I might have heard wrong. I might have not got the percentages right, but her work compensates her percentage of her salary, and the government kicks in. So she's essentially at home in lockdown, and she's getting like, her full salary. So almost all of it. So I mean, she's not complaining, and also she's raising a toddler, which is she's getting to spend a lot of intimate time with the kid. And then
definitely a pro of being in a first world country, as you say.
100%.
We can't do that here, man.
Yeah. But then conversely, I mean, her husband said, she said that he's working harder than ever because he's able to work remotely. And like I can kind of relate to that because it's exactly how it's been with me. My other cousin, works in like gaming, but like competitive online gaming, where it's also, I think there is some form of like, betting and gambling if you want. And apparently, because just like TV, gaming has gone like, through this time because everyone's on their phones. Apparently, they also more busy than ever, and he's had to work online the whole time. So, yeah, man, it's. I'm interested to see what's going to come out of this. I know we've said that 100 times, but
yeah, it is. I think what kind of got me is some of the things that are happening still. Still the uncertainty around what you can or can't do. I know that we've got curfews being implemented now, where you can be out and about, call it, from a certain time to a certain time. Within that time, you are allowed to do the exercising, the walking and stuff. And I didn't see that. I saw people around my neighborhood on bicycles, walking, jogging till into the afternoon, which I thought was quite interesting. But again, I'm in a pretty secluded suburb, so I do kind of get it too. I'm pretty sure the authorities have bigger things to concern themselves with than coming into my little suburb and making sure that there's no one running around the roads.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. Income-wise, yeah, I'm concerned. I'm saddened. I mean, I have friends who have been saying to me that in the next month or so, they're going to have to start going on unemployment funds to start getting some form of an income, because their small businesses that they work for just can't do anything for them salary-wise, etc., because there's just no money coming into the business. That, yeah, I feel for them, and at the same time, I think the point I'm trying to get across is I think I find it difficult to truly understand what could be going through some of those people's minds. I'm not in that situation. So as empathetic as I can be, as supportive as I can try to be, I don't know what that's like. And I think one step further than that, I've been in a situation where lost a job and had to find a new job, and had to make all kinds of plans, had to ration my money so that I could survive for a couple months while I was hunting for a new job, that kind of stuff. But all the while, inside me is this drive and this push saying, just keep hunting, keep looking, keep going to interviews. Something eventually will give, and you will get a job. It's that kind of mindset. But when you're in a situation like this, where it's the control has been removed from you, so be as positive as you want, try to be as proactive as you want. In your particular industry, nothing's moving, nothing's happening, be it retail, be it whatever, and I can't fathom what that must be like, because you can't even sit there and say, no, if I just put in this time, this effort, if I just pick myself up every day and motivate myself to push through, something will land. Here, I'm at the mercy of powers that be.
It's interesting you say that, dude, because like there's a sort of thought that's been going through my mind, where it's like, you get a lot of people, and I mean this in the most harmless way. You get a lot of people that are super passionate about their work, and they tend to be artists and stuff. And not only artists, you get people that are in corporate that love the rush, but then you get the general person that just wants to go to work, doesn't actually really care about the company, just wants to make a living, just wants to feed their family. So they don't, they kind of take interest, they know what they're doing, but there's isn't much passion. The reason I bring that up is people like that, I think, are sitting at home now, and if they're fortunate enough to go, their company's like, everything's fine for now, or you're good. There's going to be this aftermath after the lockdown, and I think a lot of people are going to see these unforeseen economical consequences, because the world essentially gets turned back on. And they're going to be like, oh wait, we're still not making an income. There's something worse after the lockdown, and then all of a sudden these people are going to get let go, and they're going to have not seen it coming, because they weren't stressing. But also, I keep thinking about, if you look at the way people went clothes shopping when they shouldn't be, I keep thinking the whole middle class is going to lose their minds, and as soon as they get out, they're going to go max out their credit cards, and it's going to be this huge injection into the retail industry, and people that usually could afford to travel are going to go on little trips because they've been locked down for so long and their lives are so hard, you know, and things might be okay. So it's
Sure.
yeah, I don't know, man. Like it's such a tricky one, and all we can do is like sit and wait it out and see what's actually really going to happen, I guess.
Yeah, true. Look, I think on your point, I do understand that some folks, families, kids, etc., kids grow up, they get big. So I totally get that some people do need to go to the shops and get winter clothing for kids that need it because they might have outgrown last year's winter clothes. I do take your point and agree that if someone's retail therapying right now, probably not the best thing for anybody to do. Given the uncertainty around everything. I do think you're absolutely right. I think there's going to be a weird, unpredictable backlash and influx, maybe a massive spike when things get lowered, decreased to a certain level where people can fully retail therapize themselves. I think you will see a big spike. But then, what after that? What happens next? I hope that everyone just takes a sane approach to things. I'm thinking banks and people with mortgages. I'm thinking people who have to do car payments. I'm thinking, all those kinds of things. In a country like ours, you can't necessarily just go and take people's cars away if they haven't made a car payment for a month or two, or if they've made a minimum payment for a month or two, whatever it is during these times, because that's vital to people getting to the workplace, the workforce, etc. So, yeah, man, just
it's something you've sort of struck on a nerve. It'll be a small rant, but I find it really frustrating that there's a lot of companies out there that are pitching that they'll give people holidays and stuff, and there are some really good companies out there. My financial dude that I use, he's managed to get me like a holiday on my RA. I've just put all these precautions that I can, But then my bank, which I will not name to be safe, like I had to apply and I had to get all these forms and financials of my business, and I had to put all this effort in, and they're like, no, basically we'll give you a loan and to cover the your bond and stuff, and then you got to start paying back this over 60 months after the 3 months are up. So my bond payment's actually going to go up then. I'm like, you're not helping me. You're getting me into more debt here.
Correct, and they're scoring tenfold in doing that if you had to take it as an example.
Yeah, and what frustrates me, dude, is if you look at it, and I get it, they're a business, they have to run, they have the same, stress that we have, tenfold, because they run various branches and all that. But if they just even took my bond and pushed it out by 3 months, a lot of people for bonds are 20, 30 years. If you push my bond up by 3 months, it'll do the world of good to me. And they're keeping me in debt, even if it's at no extra cost for those, in the big scheme of things, 3 months isn't that bad. But now they're like, no, we want even more money for you, and we want you to pay it off over 60 months. I'm like, what? No. I'm like, I'll figure it out, dude. Thanks, decline, no. And I'm really fortunate that I'm in that boat where I could, and I'm still making a plan. A lot of people, that's what the bank's going to give them. They've got to take it to survive, and that's if they even qualify. It's brutal, man. Not fun at all, man. So
not fun, no. I think for a lot of folks, you used the term earlier on, holiday is over in a lot of regards, and the future's going to be an interesting one, because apparently we're still going to be in these circumstances for months to come in various levels of severity.
Sorry, knocking the mic, But no, dude, and that is a bit of a scary thing, I don't want to worry people unnecessarily, but we got this level 4, and if you really break down the charts, there isn't much difference between level 4 and level 5. Not that much. And there's a lot of unclear things. I mean, I've been speaking to people in depth in my industry, and some people are like, no, we're going back. We don't care. They're having that sort of rock and roll attitude about it. And one guy's and you can tell he's quite a big shot in our industry. and he's been talking to like his legal department and lawyer and stuff, and they like, if they come, they can seize your equipment, give you a fine, and still like, do all these things. And you remember, like, guys in studios have like $500,000 easy with the equipment. Even if your client's like, I'll pay for the fine, how do they replace that equipment? And there's like these umbrellas of topics. Like you would be a perfect example. They're like just like IT in general. And it's like there's very specific industries and stems within IT, and that's what they're doing with us. It's like media and broadcast. It's like, well, what do actual audio studios fall under? Like camera crew, like, and they're not making it specific enough. So it really makes it tough to know what you can and can't do. And that's why everyone's figuring it out, I guess. And some people are pushing the limits. I'm one of those guys that are like, I'm just going to stay at home, be a quiet little mouse.
For sure, yeah. I'd rather err on the side of caution for now, anyway.
Yeah, dude. So otherwise, like, yeah, I don't know, but there is, you mentioned this to me earlier, and I don't know if you want to dive into that, but I mean, there is generally stuff that is, and I know we've mentioned some of it, but 100% nonsensical. And I get that the government's trying to figure it out, and they're making some decisions here and there, but they're not backing on their decisions. They're not going, okay, that was a bad idea. Cool, everyone. Let's just do this. Like a perfect example is like, I've got, 2 mates that I've just heard, like, Kira came and told me, like, no, they're getting takeaways tonight as like a treat.
Right.
And it's like, people still have to go into a kitchen, they still have to make food, and then the drivers to still come to you. And, so you're still starting the whole chain of, that. But like, Kira can't technically go visit her mom, but we can go to the shops, like where we're exposed to these people that are coming out in masses, like you've explained. I mean, I don't know if you saw that photo in Cape Town. I think it was Camps Bay, or I don't want to lie. I don't want to get myself into trouble. But like, dude, this photo and there's like a gazillion people running. Like it's like, how are you? And when you're running, you're breathing heavily and you're spitting and you're doing all these things. Anyway, like, so I just think, that.
And another thing I don't get is the restriction on cigarettes. Alcohol, I totally understand. And again, I'm not a smoker. It does not affect me in the slightest. But when I look at how heavily they tax cigarettes, the sin taxes that people pay, in my mind, I go, surely that's one of the things you'd want people to start buying again, just to generate revenue for the government in these times.
Yeah.
And to just ban it with no rhyme nor reason baffles me.
Interestingly, there was an article, dude. I can't speak to how verified and all. Yeah, validity is the word I was looking for. And again, it did get me thinking. Like, even if it isn't, it's so interesting how, like, we have a certain amount of privilege, whether we like it or not. And there's just things that go way over our head that we don't even think about. And if you look at cigarettes, cigarettes. People joke that it's like a currency in prison and all that, and it is. It's a very much, it's something that a lot of poverty-stricken people do. Like, they smoke and stuff, and they'll take a cigarette over anything. A beggar will come to you and wind down your window, and sometimes they don't even ask for money, they ask for cigarettes. And a lot of these guys are sharing like one cigarette between 5 guys, and it's hitting the lip, passing. And so in your township areas and stuff, dude, for that's like an immediate, exaggerator of the disease, possibly, with saliva and all that jazz. And they mentioned one or two other things that I can't remember. And I was like, I'm not a smoker, so I didn't think about that. But generally, all the middle class have their whole own box of smokes to themselves, and they don't even think about that. And it's not the case for everyone. So whether I want to give the government credit for thinking of that idea, I don't know. Maybe they hired a bunch of experts to be like, hey, this is something you didn't think about. So again, but I don't want to be too mean. Maybe they did. Maybe they're, no, dude, this is what's going to happen. I don't know. And alcohol I get, but we've spoken about that. People just get silly.
Yeah, no, 100%. We spoke about that.
Not everyone. And look, there are people that make the argument that there's bad drivers out there and doesn't make you stop everyone from driving. Very valid argument. So, it's like, if people are going to drink, some people are going to drink for fun, and some people are going to be stupid. But
yeah. So
again, like, it goes back to, we said this in a previous podcast, and I think everyone's trying to figure it out, and they're trying to do it the best they can. And I just think people, it's clear that it's become economy first, health second. I don't know what the right answer is, because people have lost their patience. But I do find a lot of the people that are complaining are the people that are like least affected by it, which I find very interesting. They're just like, I've had enough. I want to go on my trip to Greece now. What is going on?
Yeah. Dude, I think at a time like this, just take a page out of my T-shirt. My Vault Boy. Exactly. Vault Boy from Fallout. Big thumbs up and a wink. It'll be okay.
Yeah. Has to be, man.